When it came to building out the mining farm, what were some of the unique challenges that you faced?
Many. Building a Bitcoin mine, it's so much fun to do, man. There's so much come together. It's just, I don't know, it just tingles the spirit.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the VoskCoin YouTube channel. I'm here with Aqil, who is the owner of the Immersion mining farm that we just toured. So Aqil, can you tell me more about you, what you're doing, how you got into this, and why'd you build a Bitcoin mining farm?
Oh, good question. Well, first of all, it's great to have you here and show you the mine. Big fan of your channel for a long time. And actually you helped me get motivated to build it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, like many people, I've heard about Bitcoin and crypto for a long time before I really started to understand what it was. And during COVID, the business, it was harder to make money and to do things, and I got a little bored because everything was closed. And I started to look mainly on YouTube to see what this Bitcoin was all about. That's why I know you guys. So that was cool. And I have some friends that are also business people that do some of those things. And I thought it would be a great way to leverage some bets, because in my opinion, after COVID, there would be a big inflation coming. And I thought that especially Bitcoin would be a good leverage against that, like gold or silver. So I thought I can buy it, but I can also mine it. And I've never built a Bitcoin mine before, and I thought it was a very interesting and cool process. So I built a small farm at my house, in my shed. Also,
hey, love that.
That's how you start, eh? And then I decided to build a bigger one.
So with your shed, what did you build with your mining shed, and why'd you choose to do that as like a pilot experiment?
First of all, I like the technique with immersion a lot, and I think it's really cool. I also think that the way you are able to overclock the miners is really helpful and can be an extra benefit when you do it. I also like the fact that with immersion mining, your miners, they don't heat up and cool down as fast as they do within air, and there's not much dust being collected. Therefore, I think the longevity of the miners is longer. Is longevity the right word?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm Dutch. That's where I live, and I was here for a project for 3 years. I was building another business, and in that time I decided to start with this, and one thing led to another. And
so you were here to build a business, and then in that time you're like, well, I'm gonna build another business.
Well, COVID wasn't helping. I was in personal fitness and personal training, and we were almost shut down for 2 years, well, a year and a half and everything, so I got bored.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was the hardest time for industries like that, because, I mean, not only were they just shut down, but then people were so afraid to go out and do anything, especially gym equipment. It's multiple people are touching it, and they're like, whoa, might die. So.
Yeah, well, I have a different opinion about that, because in our business, we only have 1 or 2 people in our private studios.
Yeah.
But they still shut us down, so I'm still upset about that, but that's a different story.
So you built out your mining shed and you did some immersion setups, and then you decided to, go to a bigger scale with it. So what kind of led to you choosing the location you did, why that building, and then just like, why there?
Yeah. I bought a house here in Virginia, and since I was there anyway, I thought, and also knew that the Minion back then was one in Virginia was a reasonable price for the industrial electricity, and with an EDR rider, I thought it would be good. We could get a pretty competitive rate back then.
And so, what is an EDR rider?
EDR rider is when you have a organization or a plant that is big enough, and you get above certain thresholds. You can get a little bit of compensation on the price for a couple of years to stimulate people to build their businesses in this area of Virginia. So that was going to give me a little discount on the electricity also.
And so what is your electricity rate with the mining farm?
Well, too high.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah, and so when I started, I was hoping to be able to build it at around 5 cents, maybe a little bit above that. But then when I was building the bigger mine, The war in the Ukraine came, and we went up with a fuel charge. And at this moment, I'm paying somewhere between 7 and 8 cents.
Yeah.
And it's only 2 cents, but that's like 40% more than I was projecting in my calculations. So that's a bit high at the moment.
Yeah, and so you're running 480 Bitcoin miners?
Approximately.
And 2 cents per kilowatt hour, you know, that increase in your price times 480 Bitcoin miners, I mean, it's substantial.
It's not good. No,
it's bad.
It's bad.
The takeaway is bad.
Yeah.
Then you decided to move forward with Immersion on a larger scale, and you talked about, you know, briefly why you like Immersion, but what motivated you to absolutely commit to Immersion on a big scale, and then also use DCX for that deployment?
Well, I looked at some different suppliers that were around, and I thought that the system they had, and you've seen it, it's very modular. And this mine, as we built it, in my opinion, was just the beginning. I think if this really works and it makes money, you can scale up, and then you know what you're doing, and you can make it bigger. You can make it maybe 5 times bigger or 10 times bigger, whatever you can do, but you need to start somewhere. So I like the modular in the system in there, and also the industrial scale of the business, the supplier DCX. That was something that really interested me. And then I used the location here because it was close to where I live, so I could build it here. The electricity rate back then was pretty competitive, and you have to build it somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so do you have plans to expand the mining farm?
I had plans, but when everything going a little bit to the wrong direction, so electricity went up, Bitcoin went down, and at this moment the business model is not working the way I would like it to work. We are making money, but compared to the investments, it's a little bit on the low side.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to see what we can do to maybe get better leverage on the future investments, a better ROI. At this moment, I think it's a little bit too scary. We have to see what happens at the halving next year. I think it will go good, but I'm not sure yet, so I think that's a bit too much of a risk to take at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I've seen historically, you know, you never know, right, what the future holds, but the people and the miners and the mining farms that stay the course have done well, you know, if they are operating like a tight operation and you're not wasting a bunch of money, you have at least a decent electricity rate. So I think it's really cool you're still mining because the price is really not that great, and it seems like every couple of weeks we hit a new all-time high in Bitcoin mining difficulty, so we're mining less coins, but
yeah.
it's...
Yeah, that was also something that surprised me. I wasn't expecting the difficulty to keep increasing this much as it did. I think it's also because some bigger industrial players invested heavily and those processes keep going longer. So those three factors really didn't align.
Yeah.
Well, we hit the trifecta in a bad way.
Yeah.
So we have to go the other way now. But it can change, it can go. And I still think Bitcoin is a really good hedge against inflation. So I have good hope that it will become better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been shocked too by just how much the mining difficulty has gone up. And I know that bigger operations especially lag from their build to the actual deployment of miners. But it's kind of been shocking how many, you know, people and just literally how many millions and millions of dollars are betting on Bitcoin through Bitcoin mining. Even with, you know, some bigger operations going bankrupt, and you think that that would remove a lot of hash rate. But a lot of those operations, you know, as they go through their bankruptcy filings, are actually still operating their machines. So it's not like, oh, like Core Scientific went bankrupt, all their machines are offline. They're bankrupt and they're still mining.
Well, the business went bankrupt. The product didn't go bankrupt. That's still running, and somebody probably made a good deal there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Was it you?
Not this time. Maybe next time. When it came to building out the mining farm, what were some of the unique challenges that you faced?
Many. Many. Especially at bigger scale. There was a lot of issues we had to go over. I still think it's one of the coolest things I've ever did. Building a Bitcoin mine, it's so much fun to do, man. There's so much come together. It's just, I don't know, it just tingles the spirit.
I'm biased too, but I completely agree. And I think like you really can't understate if you get into like how much fun it is. Like it really is so cool. You're doing so many unique things. at a minimum, you'll always remember this. You know,
Oh,
if
yeah.
it goes good or bad, you know,
That's for sure.
in your final days, you may be thinking about, man, I remember when I built that Bitcoin mining farm.
Yeah, and so you've seen it. It looks so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like that. So that's it. But the difficulties that we faced was, first of all, you have to find your way in mining. So it would be, I wouldn't advise people to start at the scale we started. So do a little testing first, like I did in my shed. I had 4 enclosures, I think 24 miners, and the same system that I have now, but then smaller. So you can start to see how it goes, learn it, and once you start learning, everything you learn also makes 3 more questions arise. So you have to also find people around you that can help you to build it, the right suppliers, the right people, the right connections. It's a business that you're building, so that's cool. And so when you start from a hobby and you go there, make sure that you have the right suppliers around you. That's one thing. And then when I was building it, this was at the end of 2021, there was a really big supply chain issue going on.
Yeah.
So the timing for everything was really long, and sometimes things took 6 months or 8 months to get things done. And in Bitcoin, that's like a whole lifetime. So I kept altering my Excel spreadsheet. So it's
not in a good way.
Well, not in a good way, and I had a bit of bad luck because of the timing that would happen, but that's part of doing business. You can't always throw a 6 with your dice, that's okay. But we build it, we're doing it, we're mining, it's profitable, should be more profitable, but we'll just keep on going and then we'll get back.
And so with the coin you're mining, what are your plans with your earnings, right? Like, so are you mining Bitcoin and selling the minimum to pay the electricity bill and any other associated costs, and are you stacking the rest of the Bitcoin, or the coin you mine, does it go straight to, you know, dollars or euros, or what's your operation?
I'm stacking as much Bitcoin as I can at the moment. We have to pay for our operations and the team. And back to the question, why did you start here? I was able to get this location. It is not the most fancy data center, but it's also not the most expensive one. And it does what I need to do. So it's practical.
Yeah, and honestly, I think, you know, you don't want something that even looks too fancy from the street, right? Because it's not a Bitcoin mining operation isn't something you want everyone walking by to know about. You know, it's better to be kind of out of sight, out of mind. Nobody really knows, and you're just over here stacking Bitcoins.
Yeah, well, the Bitcoins are not there at the mine, so that's good, yeah. But but I agree with you. But what we do with Immersion, also we have this one dry cooler, and that makes some noise, but it's nothing compared to the noise that you have in a normal operation with 400 or 500 miners.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen a few dry coolers in person and some bigger ones, and that DCX dry cooler is surprisingly quiet. And I know Dennis was talking about because it has like some teeth on the fan.
It's like, you know, an owl. When an owl flies in, you don't hear it.
Yeah.
It's because of the shapes of the wings. And something like that happens in those fans. How cool is that?
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I guess other than Bitcoin mining, are you into any other cryptocurrencies? Are you doing you know, anything else in the crypto sphere, or do you spend the rest of your time on, you know, other things in your other businesses?
No, I have some other businesses that are my priority. I have a really good team, and compliments to Dennis and the team. They take really good care of the mine, so that's part of you finding the right people around you to help you to grow your business and become better. But I'm not involved on a day-to-day basis on the mine. I live in the Netherlands, so I come here every now and then, like now, and then we'll see how it goes. But my other businesses are regular businesses, so I do the Bitcoin on the side. I also think that a project like this you can only do with money that you have spare. You shouldn't bet on it full time, I guess that's a bit difficult and scary. So I have my other businesses, which are primary for my time, and this is. But the good thing with Bitcoin miners is once they are up and running, they keep going.
Yeah.
That's most of the time.
Yeah.
If you.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, Dennis will take care of it.
How did you? It's funny. Dennis is. You can't see here,
Okay,
but Dennis is right there.
Yeah.
So we can't talk crap about him right now. And that's Colby over there. Well, so how did you find Dennis?
Through a network, actually. One of my main businesses is business networking, and we get people together in businesses to network with each other. and to see if they can help each other in local communities to become better and stronger in what they do. You can only be good at one job that you have, and if you have different jobs and different entrepreneurs together, they tend to get ideas and do better business. So because of that, I found somebody through a mutual connection we have here in the local area. And actually, where you're sitting now, we had the first meeting with Dennis.
Ah.
And I thought that's great, because he's a bit of a nerd. Can I say that, Dennis?
What's that?
Can I say you're a bit of a nerd?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, okay, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, nerds are the new rock stars, man. I love it.
They are.
Yeah, so that was a really good communication. And I also felt that he really had the right intention and he said the right things. Because in this area, I've also been to some crypto fairs and expos and everything. There's a lot of people that are flashy and quick, and I don't think that they have the best mindset for the long term. But with Dennis, I have a very good feeling that we will have a really long-lasting relationship in the building and growing the mine. And so far, it has come to fruition.
Well, I'll call you in 3 years and I'll see if you say the same thing.
I'll be here, hopefully.
Well, I bet you will. I bet you will. That's awesome.
One more thing about the other coins. At this moment, I'm only mining Bitcoin. That was from the get-go the start, because I think that is the mother coin, so to say, and I think everything will be leveraged with that. And it is somewhat challenging because the rewards are not there where I want them to be. I'm also in it to make money. That's a part of it. Rewards not there where I want it to be, and then you see some coins going up and it fluctuates, but it's a little bit of a gamble to invest a lot of money in buying miners for those altcoins. So I haven't gone there yet, and I don't know if I will. We'll see what the future brings.
Most people gravitate towards Bitcoin, and I don't think Bitcoin's going anywhere. I think Bitcoin's got an incredible future. A lot of the altcoin miners have proven to either be like incredible returns or people never make their money back. So it's, in a risky sector, it becomes even more risky.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble, but I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm not.
Yeah. Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. I wanted to know what you thought, what your thoughts are on the Bitcoin halving. We're less than a year away from that. How that impacts your Bitcoin mining farm, and if that's something you're excited for or not, because the Bitcoin halving is built into the Bitcoin protocol, and every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin mined per day is cut in half. So if nothing changed, we're mining half as many Bitcoins per day. But halvings have predated all-time highs. Will happen again, though. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm excited, but also a little bit scared because of the way it's been going in the last 2 years. I was expecting Bitcoin to be a little bit more steady going up. I wasn't expecting the hash rate to go as high as it did exactly, but it's you're still able to make money if you build a business case that is substantial and you don't do crazy things, you just build it normally. But when the halving comes, if nothing else changes, then we won't be able to make enough money to continue. But I don't think nothing else cannot change, if you know what I mean, because when that happens, then many people will not be able to make it profitable. So maybe hash rate will drop. Normally in old times in Bitcoin, 8 years now. Normally in old times, Bitcoin after the halving would go up and the price will go up. So we'll see what happens. And when we see what happens, we see where it goes. We are also building like a war chest to make sure that when something happens and we need to be able to lay low for 6 or 9 or 10 months or 12 months, then we'll do that and then we'll see how it goes.
And so have you run the numbers? What does Bitcoin's price need to be after the halving for your operation to still be in the green?
Well, for break even after the halving, at this moment, and taking hash rate into account, it should be at least 50.
Okay. Well, we're going to need to go up.
Through that. Yeah, but then if it doesn't go up and the same hash rate stays, which it can't in my opinion, but if hash rate goes down, then the price can also be lower. So we'll just see what happens and go with the flow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be reactive, and it's an entrepreneurial business. I like it.
I respect it. So Aqil, we've run through all this crazy crypto, Bitcoin stuff, but like, what else do you do like beyond this? Like, I know we talked about some of your other businesses and things like that, but like what's an average week look like for you? Because you're in a unique position where you're the owner of a pretty sizable Bitcoin farm, especially, I believe you're in this with you and one other business partner.
Yeah.
And then you have Dennis and Colby, running the day-to-day, the operations. So like, how much does this take away from your time, and then where are you spending the rest of your time?
So, good question. Well, during the build of the Bitcoin mine, it was a big project. It was about 80 to 90% of my time.
Yeah.
At that time we built it, but that's when you go from a 40-hour work week, and entrepreneurs don't have those.
Yeah,
That might be that.
I feel that.
Yeah, sometimes you have to really step up and be there more. My primary business is business networking. I get entrepreneurs together in local collectives and make them help each other to get more business. It's called Boomerang, so just plugging that in here.
Bam.
Boomerang Business Collective. And then where we are now, this is a studio called Fit20, and together with my wife we have several of those studios in the world, and we train people in 20 minutes to become stronger. I can put you on one of those machines if you want.
Hey.
Miss Vosk? Yeah, okay, so. Yeah.
All right.
B-roll.
I'll give it a rip. It's 20, I mean, that's the easy pitch. Who can't find 20 minutes?
Exactly. You seem like a pretty sturdy boy, eh?
Like, how many hours per week do you think you were spending on it? Roughly. I know it's huge variance.
Yeah, well, it isn't consistent because sometimes you have to wait for stuff to come in, stuff to do, and you also hire a lot of people at this size, especially electricians and stuff that you do. But I really couldn't put a number on that. Sometimes it was 40, sometimes it was 10.
Yeah.
It just differs. But it was about a 9-month to 12-month period of time for building, from start. And the start is you just think about it and make the drawings and everything, and you think of how the system will look like, and then you have to get the deals done, and then you build it, and then you install it, and you go. But Dennis got involved with his team really quickly after that, so that was really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Colby also.
And so now, especially with them in the picture, do you spend much time on this? Other than just kind of checking in here and there and seeing everything's good to go?
No, I don't spend any time on it.
Yeah.
I have a meeting with Dennis once a month, and that's it.
Well, that's a great way to get your time back and focus on other things. So.
Yeah, well, people are always looking to get into balance, balance life working. I don't believe in it. I believe in harmony, like the yin-yang symbol, So sometimes when you're building on something big, you have to either go all in, and then sometimes you can spend more time somewhere else. Same with family and work. If you're with your family, you should be thinking about work, not the way around.
Write that down.
That's a tip.
That's free advice. Awesome. Well, it was an absolute pleasure, Aqil, meeting you and running through all this with you. And thanks for allowing us to come and tour your farm. It's a really cool opportunity. And it really worked out that the timing for you to be here, because you live in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And so how many days a year you think you spend over here now?
Well, this year, this is my 4th day here, and we're now in August. So this is a really coincidence I'm here.
So hey, it worked out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, thanks, and thank you also. And like I said, I'm a big fan of your channel, and I also really admire the way you do things. You build it together with everybody, and Miss Vosk and Tils and everybody. So you're a big inspiration, and I really like what you build there.
Well, I really appreciate it. You honor me.
Okay, well, so till next time.
Awesome. All right, guys. Also, subscribe. I have to say that.